Third thing is interdisciplinary scope. Sometimes what happens is we may have to go beyond the limits of the subjects and we may have to mix it up with some other subjects as well. For example, if we have to go with a legal language, if our research is based on this particular topic called legal language, we have to deal with both the aspects of law and language, isn't it? So these two different subject areas are brought together in our research and that becomes interdisciplinary scope. So coming to the academic scope, our research has to be useful to our subject itself in different ways. We may be able to provide the subject itself with a new understanding, new scope in its meaning, and adding something new knowledge to the existing ones. So that is the academic scope as far as a dissertation is concerned. The second is a research scope, the scope that we have while we do the research. See, when we do the research, the most important aspect is the research question and the objective behind we do this particular research. We start the research with a question, and that question is called the research question. How we have to analyze the different subjects so that we can come to this particular point called a research question. How we have to frame the question. All these kinds of things we will deal in different sessions. Just try to understand the overall idea of dissertation here. So we start the research with the research question, and every research questions will have some kind of objectives. As we said, if we consider the same example, like that of, say for example, we deal with child labor issue. Can we deal with every child that come across as a child labor in the same way is a question. That is a question. Can we or should we deal with every child that comes across as a child labor should be dealt in the same way? And what are the objectives? How to identify what is the reason behind that particular child being a child labor? What are the socio-economic reasons? What are the family issues related to that? How this child can have a sustainable development without being a child labor? All these kinds of sub-questions become the answers of those questions, become the objective of our research. So every research starts with a research question, and every research should have some objectives to achieve. And the research process, the methodology we adopt, all these kinds of things stand together for making us to reach these objectives by the end of the research we do. The second thing is the methodology that we adopt. If we have to do a research, we need to adopt different types of methodologies. We may do it in a quantitative basis or a qualitative basis. Sometimes, as I said earlier, we may have to gather data from different platforms, different child welfare organizations, or such NGOs kinds of things, and we have to analyze them. Sometimes we may have to create a questionnaire, take that questionnaire to the public. We may have to go in person and meet such kind of rescued persons, children, talk to them, ask these questions one by one, gather data from them, and we make a database and analyze it. Sometimes we have to do both the things. We may be able to go and meet the children in our surroundings, in our district, maximum in our state, but on a nationwide, we may have to depend on the database. So different types of methodologies, we call them qualitative, we call them quantitative, we call them hybrid. We will analyze all these things in detail in another video. So the methodology that we adopt, that has to be suitable with the question that we have. If the methodology is wrong, the end result of achieving or reaching the objective may not be happening. The next stage is about data and data analysis. We may get n amount of data, out of which only a few amount will be useful for us. Our ability to identify those areas, gather only those areas, and doing our research confined to that alone is very important, because feasibility is a problem with many of the researchers. It's a problem. The problem of feasibility comes when dissertation comes as a part of academic programs. For example, in most of these masters or doctoral studies, we will definitely have a time frame within which we have to complete this particular thing. So the amount of time that we have in our hand to do all these extensive researches, gathering the data analysis, all these kinds of things put together will be a hectic task. If it is a free research and open one, then we may be able to take enough amount of time in our hands and do it properly. But when it comes as a part of academic practices, academic programs, time constraints will be a bigger hindrance affecting the scope of research within a dissertation. Now, a practical scope. What is the practical scope of a dissertation? As I said, it will be lengthier, coming around across 150 to 300 pages, going so deep into the issues and all. So it definitely takes a lot of time. But as I said earlier, when it comes as a part of an academic program, it will have a time constraint. In addition to that, the practical constraints that we may come across, that being an academic program, will be about institutional restrictions. Different institutions might have put forward different structures for us to complete this particular research. Presentation structures may be different. The way we have to organize the researches may be different. The way we deal with the research question itself can be different from institution to institution. And supervisors' influence also matters a lot. When we do a research, when we do a dissertation, there will be definitely a subject expert who will be appointed as a guide. And we have to do everything in connection with him, with reference with this particular person who is appointed as a guide. So the kind of guidelines he gives to us has to be followed, which may affect the way by which we practically do the research. So our plans has to be convinced, and the supervisor's influence need to be controlled if we have to do a dissertation work properly. If we have to do that, definitely before we start the dissertation work itself, we should have a clear-cut clarity regarding what the research question is, what is the way by which we have to go ahead, what is the research methodology we have to adopt for this, everything. But as far as the structure of the dissertation which need to be presented is concerned, definitely we have to consult the institutional guidelines. Most of the institutions follow the same structure for the entire PG programs or doctoral studies, which will be published in their website itself. So we have to follow that thoroughly, understand that thoroughly, and we have to make it sure that we do the research within the limit of the structure that is given by the institution. So these are the practical scopes as far as a dissertation is concerned.